Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sagar Utekar and this is day 6 of our free CKA series. So far we have covered so many interesting topics which are very important for our CKA exam. Okay, we discussed about how to install Minikube cluster, how to set up based cluster. We also discussed about different components of Kubernetes architecture. Even though if you don't get direct questions on what is a Kubernetes architecture, still knowing all those components and how those components works, how to uh, take the files, configurations file, how to troubleshoot those issues of the components are very important, and that's why we covered all those topics. And today again we are going to discuss a very important topic, which is taking a etcd backup and restore. Very obvious and important questions. Many of people get stuck on this question. It is time taking questions obviously, but again very scoring questions, I would say. So let's start with that. I know you won't have the exact environment as the CK exam, but we need to create that setup, and that's what our motive has been. So first, we install the Kubernetes cluster using a kubeadm. We checked all the components, everything is fine. So please use the same environment, kubeadm cluster environment, for doing this practical. Now, in the actual exam, you will get a command line utility to interact with your etcd database or the etcd part. But here we need to have that installed for doing a practical. So we are going to check that as well. One more tip I want to give is that CKA and all Kubernetes certification exams are open book test. Okay, but people don't know how to use that documentation at the best. And for these video and previous video, that has been our motive or the practice to refer to Kubernetes official documentation, so that it will be very easier for you to refer the actual topics and how to search those topics from the official documentation. So without ado, let's get started. We can go to the official documentation, kubernetes.io/docs, and start searching for the relevant document for taking a etcd backup and restore. So you can search with the keyword etcd backup and restore, and it will take you to the document operating etcd clusters for Kubernetes. You will find all the information required for solving these questions. What are the things you need to pass and everything else. So two main topics from here I want to show is that uh, when you are solving this question, first copy this command. Okay, this is the command you need, and first command. Then second command you are going to need is taking a backup of an etcd cluster. So this is the command snapshot save. And third command is restoring an etcd cluster. So switch to this etcd ctl, and this is the third command you need. Data directory snapshot restore the same. Okay. So we'll come back here to the official documentation again, but before that, let's try to understand a couple of basics of the etcd database. Even though we discussed etcd into Kubernetes architecture video, we'll go through it. One more point is that for CK exam, the current version is 1.30, which might get changed as new release has been already Kubernetes with a new release has been released, that is version 1.31 ELE. And in upcoming exams, you might see the Kubernetes version 1.31. But for etcd, the current version is still 3.5. We can verify that from the release page of the etcd. The release version is 3.5.15. Okay, but on the Kubernetes documentation, we are seeing some deprecation nodes uh, and make a use of etcd utility, which is another utility. So let's not worry about that when we have the um, etcd version 3.6, then we will, I'll create a separate video on using the new commands which needs to be used for this practical etcd backup and restore. Perfect. Just to go over the official definition of etcd. Etcd is a database used for your Kubernetes cluster, which stores all the information related to your pods, nodes, and the networking configuration, storage configuration, and many other things. If we remember the Kubernetes architecture, API server is the only component which interacts with etcd, right? And we need to have the secure communication between the anything which is communicating with our etcd, because it has all the information related to your cluster. You don't want to make it public, or you don't want to give the access to your etcd database to everyone. Okay, so for that reason, we need to secure etcd cluster. So there are two different ways of uh, how communication happens when between a etcd client server and etcd peer-to-peer server, and how to secure that. Since we are going to communicate with the etcd as a client, we need to pass couple of fields such as cert file, key file, and trusted ca file, and the endpoint of our etcd. Okay, and we just for your information that when we have the multiple etcd pods or multiple etcd nodes, external nodes, then in that cluster, etcd cluster communication, peer-to-peer communication, there are different fields such as p certificate file, key file, cert ca file. All those options we need to pass for the secure communication. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. First, we are going to install etcd current stable version, which is 3.5. We will export the current release using this command. So let's export that, and you can verify the current release with the echo $release. So it will show you the current release is 3.5.15, and then we can start downloading the package for that release. So it is going to download the package. You can verify that the package has been downloaded on our machine. Next thing is we will extract this package into our directory, and we will switch to that directory. Okay. Next thing is we need to move the command to user local bean so that we can run uh, the commands directly. So etcd version, etcd CTL version, and etcd utility version. You don't need to install this during your CKA exam. You will find this pre-installed, but for the practical, as I said, we need to have this installed on our lab setup. Next, we are going to start taking a backup and restore. There are only two or three very important commands: snapshot save, snapshot status, and snapshot restore. These three commands you need to know for this question. Let's start decoding this by using the official documentation. As I said, you need to copy one command, this command securing communication, and this is a command which will have all important parameters for all further questions as well. So what we are going to do, we are going to just replace the endpoint in this command, and we are going to keep everything same because these are the correct files used by your etcd. So we'll replace this with a local host 127.0.0.1, and it will give us a etcd cluster members list. Okay, perfect. So we are going to use the same command, and we will take a backup of our etcd, and then we will restore it. For the practical demo, what we are going to do, we will run Nginx pod, and then take a backup, delete that pod, and see when we restore uh, if we get that pod automatically or not. Okay, so let me do that. I'll run the Nginx pod. Okay, perfect. So we will start in Nginx pod. It will take some time. And once this is done, yeah, our Nginx pod is running. So what we will do, we'll take a backup of this state. Let's go back to our previous etcd CTL command, and if we will just keep changing this command as per our requirement. This is the common part which you need to mention. So this is the current version which you want to use. It is etcd CTL API 3. Etcd CTL endpoint. This is the endpoint where we want to connect. Then certificate, the key file, and the CA file. Okay. Now, since we want to take a backup, we can refer to our documentation, backing up an etcd cluster, and you will see here, this is a part we need to replace, snapshot save and the file snapshots file. Perfect. So let's run this and you will see here that snapshot has been created, this file, and this is a file is created in our directory. We can check the snapshot status with the snapshot status command. It should be somewhere here. Yeah, snapshot status and the file. So again, we will replace these command with a snapshot status -w to check the output in a table format and the snapshot file. So it will give you the hash of the snapshot, total keys, and the total size of the snapshot. Perfect. Now we can start deleting the pod, Nginx pod, and see if we get that pod again automatically when we restore the etcd. So kubectl delete pod Nginx. Okay. See here, we don't have this pod now. Kubectl, when we do the kubectl get pods, no pods. Okay. So this is good. The next thing is we need to restore this etcd cluster. For that, the command would be same, the main part. The only part is going to change is we need to pass the data directory where we want to restore the snapshot and the file from which we want to restore it. Just go back to the previous command and we will start updating the same command. Let me replace this entire thing. And data directory, we are going to use the data directory as a varlib etcd backup. If this file is already present, data directory file, then we will get an error, as you can see here. So let me delete this file first, rf-rf. Yeah. You can also check the existing current data directory of our etcd pod using kubectl describe pod -n cube system. So first get the list of the parts using kubectl get parts and check the description of this part. Kubectl describe part. This is a pod name and this is the namespace. You will see here in the volume sections, there are two volumes attached to this etcd part. One is for the etcd certs and one is for the etcd data. Okay, so what we are going to do is that we don't want to use this varlib etcd data directory as volume for this etcd. What we want to do is that we took a backup into etcd backup file, the directory, and we want to replace that with this. Okay, so how we can replace this? We know etcd pod is getting started with a static pod manifest file, and where are those static manifest files? Those are present into our etc. Let me clear this. Static pod manifest files are present into etc. Kubernetes manifest etcd.yaml. This is a manifest file which is creating static pod etcd static pod. So what we are going to do is that we are going to replace this field volumes.hostpath.path with a new directory of us. Okay. Once that is done, you will save this. All this information again available on the official documentation. What they are saying is that if data directory is the same folder as before, delete it and stop the etcd process before restoring the cluster. Otherwise, you need to change your static pod manifest file. This is what we did, etc kubernetes manifest etc.yaml, and change this path volumes.hostpath.path with a name of the data directory which where we have taken a backup. Okay, so that's what we did. We open this file and just search for the volumes.hostpath.path. So you can also search for the etcd data and come here into volume section and update this host path file. Perfect. Now what they are saying next is that you need to restart kubelet so that kubelet will start all the static pod manifest pods, right? So we will restart kubelet and see if we get a etcd with a new data directory restored. Perfect. So once you restarted your kubelet, you can verify the status of your etcd and all other pods. Just do kubectl git pods of your kube system and make sure all the pods are running. Okay. C code DNS etcd kube API server controller and unit and everything. You can also check the containers, and all these containers are running for your Kubernetes cluster. The additional validation you need to do is that check the new directory is being used for your etcd pod or not. So just do a kubectl describe pod name and the namespace -n kube system. Okay. Now in the volume section, it should start showing you the backup directory, and this section should start get updated. So this is the validation part. I hope these troubleshooting steps are also helpful, and you know what is the actual use of crictl to check the containers and everything, right? So, yeah, I hope you will clear these questions as well, and you can refer to the official documentation. You can perform this exercise by following my guide as well. And all the best. So I'll come up with more interesting videos for you to clear your CKA exam as well as to prepare for your Kubernetes interview. And additionally, not as part of a CKA exam, but I'll add one more video to use some other tool called as Velero to take a backup of your Kubernetes cluster. And that could be one of the project to add into your resume. Uh, I'm sure that will be really helpful. So that's it for now. If you are enjoying my videos, please support, like, share, subscribe, and share with your friends. Share your learnings with everyone on LinkedIn and other groups. That will be really good support for me. Thank you very much for watching this video till the end. Okay, bye bye.